Hi, good evening everyone. I am Himanshu Saxena, CEO Center of Strategic Mindset, COSM. Our purpose is to groom strategic minds and deliver bold business impact. One of the best sources of learning are authentic conversations. If we are privy and witnessing most authentic conversations, they have a tremendous impact on learning. People get inspired. And to experience that today, we have with us Rujan Panjwani, Executive Director of Edelweiss Group. Rujan, thank you very much for being here and
My pleasure
accepting
to
this
be here.
invite. I know you're extremely busy. What prompted you to accept this invitation?
Never too busy for anything to do with leadership. I think leadership is something that has the single largest impact on outcomes. And for me, I anyway give half my time in this company to leadership and leadership development. So this is all part of the job.
Thank
I'm
you.
very happy to be here.
I must tell you, I got this idea during my morning walk, and by morning, I think I had shot these two mails to you and Nitin, and that was my best day when I got the confirmation. And I'm reminded of somebody in the system who wanted to reach out to get some time, and I said, why don't you shoot a mail? He said, I don't know whether it will be accepted or not. So I said, you shoot the mail and then you take a call whether someone accepts or not. So thank you for being here. Success doesn't come easily. When it comes, it doesn't stay long if not handled well. It can also elude us after a certain stage if we don't find a trigger to reinvent. What do you feel about this entire paradigm?
You're right. I mean, success doesn't come easily. I don't think anybody in the world will claim that it does, that no matter what level you are. It does take hard work, it does take grit, determination. It also takes a certain amount of luck, being in the right place at the right time. But success ultimately is, I think, due to most people who work hard. And if you're honest with yourself and if you're honest in defining what success for you is, I think it's far easier to achieve. I also think that if you follow your passion,
Hmm.
it's much easier to find success. We are all reasonably bright people. We are good, and maybe we'll be good at almost anything we do. But if it's we are not passionate about it, if we don't really love to do it, we don't enjoy it, then we'll stay good at it. Otherwise, you can be great at it, you can be fabulous at it, and that's the choice that which we have to make. And
Yeah.
until and unless one consciously makes those choices, one will never know. I used to be just to give you a small story, I used to be a sub broker on on the Bombay Stock Exchange.
Yeah.
And then I became a broker on the National Stock Exchange when the National Stock Exchange got launched in 1994.
Yeah.
And we were doing broking for clients, high net worth clients, and it was really, it was nice when we were doing well. But my heart wasn't in it. So one day I decided that I'm going to do only my own trading. And I got inspired by a couple of books that I read, which were interviews, by the way, with some of the most successful traders in the world, including the George Soroses and the Paul Tudor Jones of the world. I read this book and I said, man, I can do this. This is my passion. I want to do this. And the next day I went into office and I said, no more broking. I'm only going to do trading. It was damn tough. It was very hard. For the first 3 months, no income coming in. You know now that you're trading, you have to put food on the table by getting your trading right. But slowly, slowly that worked out until 4 years later, we were one of the most successful traders on the street.
Wow.
That's before I joined Edelweiss. All this happened before I joined Edelweiss. So the point is that that was a passion. And that passion, I think, gave me far more success in my trading than it would ever have done in my broking. My broking would have given me a good, steady career. Certain amount of income, some clients, some recognition. Yeah, I lost all of that. But I was truly happy. So
the heart and passion was the key.
absolutely.
I often live and echo this statement, two things change the course of your life: the books that you read and the people that you meet. So which was that book which made you successful?
So the books, there were two books. They were called Market Wizards.
Yeah, white color book.
They're written by a guy called Jack Schwager.
Jack
He
Schwager.
written a third one, which is now called Hedge Fund Wizards. So those were the two books that I read in 1995-96 that changed the course of my life for the next 4-5 years. And then I think the person that I met, an old friend and now my boss, is Rashesh.
See,
I think joining Edelweiss would change the course of my life. And
I really believe in this two things: books and people make a great difference. If I can ask or take the liberty of asking, what have been your beliefs, behaviors, and the process that have got you this far?
I think several beliefs, but I would particularly say that it's important to know the environment in which you live, respect it,
Yeah.
respect the people, respect the laws of the land, know what is the sandpit that you're playing in and what is it that you're not playing in, where are the boundaries. But once that is done, like I said earlier, to me one of the most important things is passion, enjoying what you do, having a unshakable value system. And everyone's value system need not be the same. But as long as you know what your value system is, it's important. Because there are several decisions and several choices that we make in life. And when you get to a crossroads, the only thing that keeps you going is your value system. Very often at Edelweiss, when we come to tough decisions, and usually only tough decisions come to us now, we actually go back to our guiding principles. Because there's no handbook on this. We haven't done this before. We don't exactly know how to deal with this particular situation. So what do you fall back on is the guiding principles.
So they're like a guiding beacon,
It's
or
like a
something
guiding
that keeps
beacon.
you.
It's like your, the North Star.
So how does success look like in hindsight when you look back 30 plus years? What are the feelings and emotions?
Feelings and emotions after 30 plus years of working, I would say, mixed. Mixed because you can look back 30 plus years and feel extremely fulfilled with what you've done and where you've come to. Or you can look forward to the next 10-20 years and feel hungry. I'd many years ago gone on a trek to this place in the Himalayas called Gaumukh, from Gangotri to Gaumukh, and from Gaumukh I climbed. Gaumukh is at 13,000 feet, and I climbed to Tapovan, which is at 16,000 feet. And it's a very steep climb, and it's very hard. And when we did that early morning across the glacier, we got there, and that sense of fulfillment and achievement was marvelous. It was superb. Low on oxygen, you can barely, scramble up, and you feel, wow, I've done it. I've killed this, man. It's done. And then the clouds parted and the sun came out, and there we saw this mountain peak rising 7,000 feet in front of a sheer rock.
Wow.
The mountain of Shivling. And there's a lot of people running around, and
What's happening?
like, what is going on? So many tents. I thought putting up a tent was a project because there was no oxygen. These guys have put up tents, they're running around, and then the Sherpa who was with me said, "Oh, by the way, this is base camp for Shivling. It starts from here." So life is like that. I think in a sense, all careers are like that. It depends. You want to look up or you want to look down.
So I think the destination that one reaches of a success, that can be a tapovan. There's always a next Shivling waiting.
There's always the next Shivling, and then there's always the next Everest.
Thank you. Yeah. So this tapovan Shivling, and when you reach, you think you reach a Shivling, but it's just a tapovan. But the people around us, they are in plenty to bring that flattery and adulation. How do we deal with that, and how do we cope up with that?
I don't know. It's very hard to actually say how to do that. Ultimately, it's what is the commentary in your own head that you want to listen to, because you get all kinds around you. We can choose to listen to those who flatter us, or we can choose to listen to those who put us down, or we can get a balance and mix of both and say, this is really where I am. And and the idea is not to play down what you've achieved. The idea is to celebrate what you've achieved, but don't take yourself too seriously. There's lots more to do. No matter who you are, unless you've become the president of the United States, and that you don't want to be today. But even if you're the prime minister of the country or whatever, there's still so much to do, so much to contribute to. And I think at that level, idea is don't take yourself too seriously. Let the chatter go on. Continue to live your life. Keep it simple.
Yeah. Usually this is a wisdom in hindsight, but when we are actually on the path, was there a situation where something like that happened and you found a way to handle and get challenged?
I don't think it has ever happened to us, because in a lot of our culture within the company has been that we don't like the star culture. So you'll find very few stars in Edelweiss, though internally there are a lot of stars. We don't promote that culture. We also like to, tell ourselves that we are like to be down to earth as a company, as a culture, as a set of, people, employees of this company, as owners of this company. If you start thinking of yourself as an owner, then this will never happen.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things that we believe that our culture promotes, the culture of ownership. It keeps you, ownership is also, when we step out of a meeting room, if I switch that air conditioner off, so I switch off the lights, then
Not
I'm an
leaving
owner.
to the housekeeping guy.
Exactly. Then I'm an employee.
What daily habits can ensure that we remain grounded and not become victim of ego?
In that sense, to each their own, I would say. But for me, what has worked is, just discipline. Discipline in lifestyle. Discipline, including small things like carrying your own dinner plate to the kitchen rather than leaving it for domestic help. Saying thank you to people. Just treating people well. I think all that just keeps you, but to each their own, and I don't think it can be prescriptive in that sense. I keep coming back to say, have fun, don't take yourself too seriously. You'll be okay, right? And
yeah. So give us a sense of your disciplined life,
or
a walkthrough.
So it's a 6-day-a-week regime where I wake up at 4:45 in the morning. I spend about an hour and a half from 5:30 to 7 doing some sort of exercise, either a run or yoga or some training or something. And I'm usually in bed by 10:30, which allows me to do that. So that's the discipline. So I do give up a lot of my social life. I do give up a lot of my partying and all of which I love, by the way, because that I'm not giving up. So one night
you make a choice.
One night a week is specifically
Reserved
reserved for that, and then you won't catch me doing this. So it's a choice, and like everything else, we have to make those choices.
See, one thing that I'm picking up from you is to live a life of discipline, you have to let go of few things. We can't have all the things in life. And I've heard,
unfortunately,
and people like or aspire to do, but I'm not sure they are able to identify what to let go.
I think it's a matter of how your priorities change. When I was in my 30s, I didn't wake up at 4:45 every morning. It didn't matter to me. I could party for 6 days a week and then do 1 day a week rest. But I think as you progress in life, as you evolve, as your responsibilities change and evolve, I think you keep making choices. And how you deal with those choices is entirely up to you.
Okay. We all make mistakes, but usually there is one or two mistakes which are far overway. So when it comes to leadership, what is that one mistake you witness leaders making more frequently than other mistakes?
What I've witnessed and seen, at least in my career,
Yeah.
is the biggest mistake we can all make as leaders is not trusting people around you. Because that doesn't allow us to build more leaders. And as leaders, our job is to build leaders. As leaders, our job is not to build followers. Because then we have not succeeded. I think success is only measured in my books, and success is measured differently for everybody. But in my books, I say the faster I can make myself redundant, the more successful I am. Then I can go on to do something else. And as long as you have this, this desire to learn, try out something new. I've changed many roles in Edelweiss.
Yeah.
So that is how you measure your own success. But I think not trusting people to do,
Can have serious pitfalls.
you will not achieve your own objectives.
Yeah. I often heard from you a word on intellectual rigor. What is that? And what is its relevance?
Yeah, intellectual rigor is a term that we use quite often in Edelweiss.
Okay.
But I think it is everything from attention to detail, including, there is a time when, and even now, if I get a badly formatted Excel sheet, and Excel is it's our currency in a financial services firm. I get a badly formatted or unformatted Excel sheet, I'll just send it back. I refuse to look at it. Because that is simple attention to detail. And if we are not anal about it, then we will not get it. And if that quality falls, then I can expect the quality of the content to fall next. It's like coffee stains on the carpet.
Yeah.
Right? Or it's a cockroach in the room. If you see that, if you see coffee, like the famous aircraft example, right? If you see coffee stains on the carpet in an aircraft, you could potentially, and a lot of people will presume and assume that it's not a safe flight. It's got nothing to do with safety.
Yeah. Developing people, and there's a lot of spoken, unspoken, that you have played a great role in developing some of the people in Edelweiss. One of the most common names of protege leader comes is yours is Nitin equation. So tell us some experience about that. How did that work out? What did you enjoy in that?
I think I've enjoyed every step of that. It's been fabulous. Getting the right people first is a prerequisite, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's more than that. It's about developing a relationship. It's about trusting implicitly each other's judgment. And it's not, agenda is an easier one, but we have to trust each other's judgment. Because that's the only way we can literally hand over from one to the other. And know and be absolutely confident and comfortable that things will get done not only as good but better than
Better
what
than
is.
us. Yeah.
And if you don't believe in that, then it's hard to. And that is why I said trust is the single most important element in any relationship with leaders.
Okay.
So it's been I've been actually very fortunate to have worked with some outstanding people. And I must say their role has been much larger than mine. But you're right, I have been very lucky.
Getting a great student is also a delight of learning. It makes the journey easy. Okay.
And I must add that I've learned a lot more from them than probably they've learned from me.
It's always like that. I have, and I'll use the word privilege, to work with so many leaders. And in a day, at times, I have 3 conversations. At the end of the day, I am far richer because each one has posed a different question. Did failure caught you unawares any time? And how did you handle that?
I think several times. One has to go through failure to really rise above it, in a sense. And you can describe failure in whichever way you want.
Yeah.
But I think it could be big incidents, or it could be gradual, degradation of particular situation, role, whatever. I can recount some of my experiences in Edelweiss. It was 2010-11. I was running quite a few businesses at that time, and having been involved in the setup and running of all these businesses, hundreds of people reporting directly or indirectly into me. It was, but I kept adding responsibilities, and I kept thinking that I could do more and more, simply because I thought that I had these people who were looking after it, and I was just delegating to them. And one day, it was I think 2010 or 11, I don't remember the exact date, but I was in office till 9 o'clock. I looked at my calendar and I said, my God, I've done some 11 meetings. And what do I have to show for it at the end of this? Squat, zero. That's when I realized I'm just running around like some headless chicken, meeting to meeting, thinking that I'm adding some huge value. Actually, I think I was taking away value from all of that. So I went to my boss and I said, listen, Rashesh, I can't do this anymore. I think I'm not adding any value. I have to step back. And then a lot of the conversations that had happened in the past 3-6 months started to play back in my head. It's once the penny dropped, there were people who come and say, you're looking very tired. Or somebody would say, you're looking very drawn. Or somebody would say, very hard to get time with you. It's easier to meet Rashesh. And all of those little things, I connected the dots and I realized that, so, you know what I did? I gave up everything. I stepped back from all responsibility, gave them to the people who were running the businesses and said, I'm going to go and do an entirely new set. Which is what I did. I went, took 2-3 weeks off, came back, I said, this is the new set of responsibilities. I agreed with Rashesh, all of which I had never done ever in my life. Now, this is after 25 years of working. So at the end of 25 years, and I thought I had a reasonably successful career, right? After 25 years, I felt like shit. I was like gone, finished. I thought it's over for me. What have I done? I haven't achieved anything. So there was another innings that began. And to be very honest, that has been the most
Rewarding,
fulfilling and rewarding stint until now. Because now, suddenly I went from 400-500 people reporting to me to one person, me and my secretary. But I had a list of 20 to-do items. I still had to achieve. The objectives were not diluted. So I had to start working with people through influence. And these are all people who earlier, many of them used to report into me. But that subtle shift
influence
had
without
already
authority.
happened, because now they no longer reported into me. And it was fabulous, because I think they grew, my relationship with them grew, overall outcomes were far better. So it truly was a paradigm shift for me.
You know, this answer is leading me to a next question, but I'll hold on. What I sense is that sometimes that little sense of hollowness is necessary to find your new reinvention. When you took that break, I think that rejuvenated you.
Absolutely. I think it's at least I feel that it's whenever you hit kind of a point where you're at a low or you're struggling with something, I think just stepping out of the situation and taking a little bit more objective, dispassionate view and thinking through helps me. I can't get even more immersed because my only introspection happens when I'm stepping out.
And it was also a great reflection trigger to differentiate between activity and productivity. Like you said, 11 meetings and you felt that nothing productive
It's the
is
same
happening.
quadrant 1, quadrant 2 syndrome, right? Now, theoretically, I know I should be in quadrant 2. I think I am, but it's only when I look at it and say, you know what? I don't tell yourself that you're not, you're fully in quadrant 1. Now, can you step out? But to step out, You have to be able to trust people that they will manage quadrant 1 and whatever is going on, because you think that you're indispensable. We all do.
Rules of success, they enable us, and sometimes we need to break those rules of success because they may come in our way. What in your life and experience came in your way which you had to break? One of the thing comes to what the example that you recently shared. It looked like breaking rules, and anything else that comes to your mind?
I think you have to constantly question what is the unknown that you're going to deal with. And you have to constantly try and foresee where things are going to go. In the absence of that, one is just playing the game on a day-to-day reactive basis. It's like they say in soccer, right? You'll never be able to score a goal if you follow the ball. The greatest goal scorers are the ones who position themselves to where the ball is likely to go, only then they score the goal.
Yeah.
Even as a forward, you can't chase the ball. So somewhere you have to bring that element in. And whether it is in business strategy, whether it is in people hiring, whether it's in leadership development, whether it's in operation, in any part of our work life, somewhere you have to be a little ahead of the curve, whether it's risk, compliance, no matter what. So that's the way I look at some of this.
The last piece of this conversation is always finding what next or what best. So how do you find, or how did you find inspirations for new milestones and benchmarks of success?
I think the biggest for me is to look out and see what's going on in the world. And there's so much happening out there. And we are just, involved in a very small fraction of what is going on. So I think there is an external trigger that is available. I think reading is one of those that at least helps me. For different people it may be different, but for me reading about all the stuff that's going on, I think that eagerness to learn new things, the day that dies, then we will continue to stay where we are and not want to do more. And I think the one thing that I found in life is the hunger and desire to do far outstrips ability to do.
A nice way of summing, because abilities can be built up. Hunger leads to a stretch which builds up the ability.
Absolutely. Skill, ability, all of that can be taught. Hunger you have to have. You all should have to want it. If you don't want it, it's like Dhirubhai Ambani famously said, no, if you can't dream it, you can never achieve it.
Yeah. And his dreams have often trumped the realm of imagination. That this is something.
No pun intended on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard a lot about reading as a source of reflections and trigger. So which is that one book you would like to recommend me?
A very hard question to answer. I can't say one book because at different times there have been different books. So whether it was Market Wizards when I was a trader, or Good to Great, Built to Last when we were busy trying to build the company, and it just goes on and on. And there is every time there's a new book, there's a different book. I think there's a little bit to be learned from every book. So I'm not extremely picky about what I read. I take whatever, I look at it. If I like it, I continue. If I don't like it, I also leave books halfway. It's okay.
Yeah.
I don't have to enjoy everything that I read, but I just do think that the more indiscriminate you are, the more you will pick up.
A couple of months back, there was an article where Satya Nadella had written that he buys more books than he can ever read. So the moment that clip came, I showed to my wife, who's always been after me, that you waste so much of money but you hardly finish. So I have one more person. I have never finished any book. And as long as one can pick up few things from that, that's good. What sums up Rujan in 3 to 5 words? I know it's very hard, but if some top of mind.
Very hard, but I would say at this point, and at every stage of my life, it would have probably been a little different. But at this point, I would say disciplined yet fun-loving. I enjoy my life.
Isn't there a paradox in two?
It is, but life is paradoxical. Life is not straitjacketed. Life is not unidimensional. So,
Okay. People have aspirations, they have beacons. What could they do to bring the future forward?
so visualization is an exercise that a lot of successful people have used. Whether it is sports persons, whether it is business people, whether it is all kinds. It's something that has been commended as a very powerful technique. So think about where you want to be, what you want to do. In fact, most Olympic athletes actually go through a huge amount of visualization. A lot of traders go through visualization.
Yeah.
So if you can just think about where you want to be, it becomes easier to put that into perspective. Imagine that. It becomes real, and then the journey becomes a lot
Easier.
So that is one technique that a lot of people use. Self-talk is another technique that a lot of people use. So whatever works for you.
One of the stories that I remember is of Jim Carrey, who put a 10 million check in his locker, and for many years he would just look at it. I think after 5 years he eventually got that. Any message that you would like to leave for this audience?
Well, the only message I would like to leave, and I'm sure there's very successful people out there, is stay driven, be passionate, enjoy what you do, and build more leaders. Because that is the only mantra for sustainability.
Thank you very much for a very free, open, freewheeling conversation.
Thank you. It's been my
got
pleasure.
A wonderful glimpse of your life and experiences. Look forward to many more engagements. Thank you.
Thank you very much.